Hey there, BookTube. Noah. Thanks for coming by. Everyone who reads it must converse. Um, I'm just giving you my current state in this one of Anna Karenina, Leo Tolstoy. This is my pick for March of the Mammoths. And March is over, but my mammoth has been trudging slowly through. You can see where I'm at. I'm about 2/3. So I feel like I'm at just like the perfect spot to kind of give my take. This is going to be kind of a quick vid, and give my take here and what I think, and then I'm right up against the real, what I'm sure is going to be a very satisfying and awesome ending to this story, because Anna Karenina's on the top 10 list of almost anybody who's ever read it. You know, it is widely known to be an exceptionally great book, and it's a masterpiece, Leo Tolstoy's masterpiece. So yeah, bring it on. So I did about a third of I did a video a third of the way through Anna Karenina. If you haven't seen that one, feel free to go back through it. But if I assume that most people that are on board for this video right here have read it, or just want to kind of get it. So I'm gonna not give big spoilers, but I am just gonna talk freely about the story, and it's more than I would want, before reading a story. I didn't know anything about this story before I started it, because I don't do any of that. I don't read any kind of synopsis or spoilers of any kind before getting into a book. I want to get it for myself. So I left off kind of where the horse race happened. That's where I was at the end when I made my last video. And in the horse race, we see Vronsky being disappointed, acting unskillfully, and Anna, being in a distraught state, not able to even contain herself. And at that point, Karenin knows. Even though he's been denying it to himself, he knows that she is having an affair with Vronsky. And before he could, he might never have confronted her about it, but in the carriage on the way home from the horse race, she tells him, I can't stand you. I wrote in here alienation of affection. That's one of the things that happens with when somebody embarks on an affair. You can't help but have what they call alienation of affection, and her giving her love and being satisfied in that way with her affair for Vronsky is actually making her hate her husband. And that's just how it goes. So before that, she's pregnant. She tells Vronsky she's pregnant, and he's just like, okay, cool, leave everything, come away with me. Just ridiculous. And so she can't do that. She says she can't do that. Of course, she's got a son with Karenin, and that's just it. So that's where they're at. At the beginning of this reading, and since then things have gotten more and more just totally crazy. Now, I love the story. I'm going to touch on Anna Karenina's story, and then we'll touch on Levin's story, because there's kind of two parallel narratives going through Anna Karenina. And so they continue with their affair. She continues with the pregnancy. She spends time away from the house, living in like a summer home kind of thing, and staying with Betsy, close to Vronsky, where his regiment is stationed, and just doing the thing, and pregnant with his child. And so that kind of thing comes to a head when she has Vronsky come to the house. Karenin has made pretty much one uh, request of her, that Vronsky never come and see her at their residence. And she calls for him to come to the house. So she breaks that, and he then knows that there's just no respect. There's no, that his wife is, he calls it being completely sick. Her soul is sick, and it's true. And so she loves her deceit. She loves the affair, and she can't stop. And so she has Vronsky meet her at the house, and Karenin, as a result, resolves to divorce her. Goes to a lawyer and resolves to divorce her. And so that's where we kind of stand with that. And then she goes into labor to have her child after a period of time. Short period of time from him going to the lawyer. And Karenin actually hopes that she will. He hopes for life to exact revenge on his behalf on her. He hopes for her death. He hopes for a negativity on her. And anybody can understand that. But the thing is that is a very human, a very carnal way of being, and we have higher faculties. And so Karenin, who at first you don't feel is any kind of hero or any kind of idealized character, when he goes and sees Anna in labor, and her in just a very she might die. She's really bad off. She's having a really hard time with labor. Her body is not doing well, and she could very well die. And she asks for forgiveness, and he gives it. He gives complete forgiveness. He forgives all. It is a beautiful scene when he goes to the house there. And I just want to touch on that a little bit. It is in this translation. This is the newest translation that gets all the praise. Pever and Volokhonsky, I believe, is a husband and wife team translating. They do a very impressive job. It's great. So it's this. He just forgives her everything, and I see that he is in a spot where he doesn't even realize what he's doing, but he does it. He does it right. And afterwards, he's meeting with Anna's brother, who is Oblonsky, who is Stefan Oblonsky. And he is, the tables have turned from the first marital spat affair that we come in contact with in the book. And Oblonsky is actually appealing to Karenin for Anna, saying, you're upset. I understand that. But if you think it over. And then Karenin is thinking, and to him who strikes you on the right cheek, offer the left, and him who takes your kaftan, give him your shirt. Thought Alexei Karenin. Yes, yes, he cried in a shrill voice. I'll take the disgrace upon myself. I'll even give up my son, but isn't it better to let things be? However, do as you like. And this kind of thing is a point where Karenin doesn't see any way to go forward. He's forgiven all. But if she doesn't want to stay with him, if Anna doesn't want to stay with him, what can he do? If he divorces her, he's going to disgrace her. She'll be disgraced in the eyes of society and things. So what can he do? Well, he can divorce her and take the blame for the divorce on himself. He can actually do that, and it's just this. I mean, what an unbelievable amount of love and care for somebody that actually turns out to be. He turns into this kind of being, and now he's not completely conscious of what he's doing and why he's doing it. He just knows he has this impetus in his soul that he knows what the right thing to do is. And the right thing is to love another, to love somebody else the way that you would want to be loved, forgiving all. It is such a beautiful thing. And he's in such torment because of it. This is a guy who's built his life on being a successful person, so far as I know. So Anna recovers from her sickness, and Karenin does not go back on his forgiveness. He loves her. He says all is forgiven. Okay, let's start over. Let's build our life together. And she can't handle it. Why? Because she has no understanding of that depth of forgiveness within herself. She can't forgive herself. So she can't understand being forgiven in that way. It's very sad, but it's very true to our human condition. If you can't understand and forgive yourself, first off, for things that you've done in your life that were wrong and unskillful, then you can never forgive anybody else. You won't even see how it can be done. And that's where Anna is. And she hates Karenin for his forgiveness. She can't wrap her head around it, and it's horrible. Vronsky knows that he's lost her. With Karenin being this an unbelievably big, giant presence and loving and just a soul, a being that is beyond understanding for most people. He knows that he's lost Anna, and he goes home and attempts suicide. He shoots himself in the chest. Sorry, if you haven't read it, that's going to be a little spoiler there. But he recovers, and when Anna, hears that he has done this, she can't live with Karenina. She can't live with herself and what she's done. And her and Vronsky go. They just go. She leaves. She goes with Vronsky. They go on a tour through Europe. They're in like Paris, living some sham of a life on Vronsky's millions. He's unbelievably wealthy, and that's where I'm at now. They are just they've left. They've left Russian society. I don't know the ramifications of that yet, but that's where they're at. And I just see this as like an addict that has totally destroyed a lot of their life and what they love, but hasn't yet hit rock bottom. Hasn't yet messed things up enough to actually change, to want to change. So it's a pretty sad story, but it's riveting. I can't get enough. This is a great story. It's so well told. The psychological exploration of the characters, Tolstoy, is amazing. So I'm loving it, definitely, and I think you'll definitely dig it if you haven't read it. The parallel narrative is Levin. Now Levin, is the farmer, but He's got a huge estate, and he's got all these farmhands and all this stuff. And I see Levin as kind of an analog for Tolstoy himself. So much of the things that come up as far as Levin's thoughts and how he views things is Tolstoy himself. But Levin is very fickle, just like every guy in this whole book is just, I see as, I kind of thought Vronsky is like one of the most steadfast, kind of knows what he's about, and just, but then he just gives up, and he gives in to Anna, who's totally just letting the emotion of the affair and desire, run her entire life. But Levin ends up actually meeting up with Kitty again, and in a beautiful, touching supper and dinner has put on by Stefan and Dottie. Him and Kitty love, see that they both love each other, that they both are in love with each other, and then they belong together. There's a couple of chapters, few chapters probably, of the marriage ceremony, and it's just so touching how they're, neither of them are very. I mean, Levin is an agnostic, if not has atheistic leanings. So he's not very religious, and so being in a church and going through that ceremony is uncomfortable for him. But I'm starting to see that everything's uncomfortable for Levin. Levin, is this kind of guy. He wants to write a book, but he's not focused enough to write his book. He's coming up with what I see as, kind of half-baked ideas, and then running with them, and then, rewriting, and then now he's getting married, and he's not doing anything after. And then he's very naive as far as what married life is really all about. So he's kind of flailing around at this point, I see, trying to find his bearings. Him and Kitty have gone to see his brother again, Nikolai, and Nikolai is dying. And Nikolai is dying, I assume, what it seems like is to be from alcoholism. His body's just run down, and liver failure, sure, something like that. And he's dying. And they stay in a hotel with him, not in the same room, but they're constantly there. And Kitty and him and his mistress are all there, giving him help and support through his death. And Levin just can't take it. He doesn't know about death. He's not, for all of Levin's argumentation and conversation with others that we get through this book, Levin's not a philosopher at all. Levin doesn't know, the ground of being. He has never even explored it. The idea that death is part of life, doesn't have any clue what that might mean, and things like that. But so Levin is really, I think, on shaky ground. But at the end of where I've left Levin at this point, 2/3 of the way, Kitty is pregnant, just at the beginning of her pregnancy, and his brother dies. And they were there to support and to be with him through that whole ordeal, which was a very dark kind of scene and couple of chapters, but very, very well told and beautiful to see the kind of beauty that Kitty is. A very pure being Kitty is. So that's where I'm at, and I can't wait to get through the end. I think that the two parallel narratives here are very, very fun. And with Levin, we have kind of a quest, kind of like a journey from innocence to experience, maybe, from naivete to really seeing what's what with life and loving somebody and building a family and all the things that he idealized before. And with Anna and Vronsky and that story, and I see as a complete tragedy. I'm prepared for a complete tragic ending. So we'll see how that pans out. And I hope you enjoy my run through Anna Karenina here, my slow mammoth trudge through Anna Karenina here. And so thank you for joining me, BookTube. And I'll catch you when it's all over, get my final thoughts. See you next time. Bye bye.